Money, money, money. Money, money, money. We got that Fly Nubian money. We talk about that money. We all about that money. Money, money, money. Money, money, money. We got that Fly Nubian money. We talk about that money. We all about that money. We love our black skin, our melanin, always focusing in on that money. We always win, money never thin, 'cause we hustling, always focusing in money, 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 money. We got that money, 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 money. We that Fly Nubian money. Boss talk, only we stack it up.
Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I'm Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood and Karma J. It just all really depends on the day, right? So today we want to welcome you all to the show. Hello, everybody. I see you coming in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So today we are talking about something pretty interesting. We are talking about Leslie Jones. Now, Leslie, if you know who she is, she's a former SNL comedian, or she's a comedian that was formerly on SNL. But Leslie said that marriage feels like legalized slavery. Now, ooh. And whether you agree with that or not, that statement didn't come from nowhere, right? Because when you really look at how a lot of marriages function, women are carrying most of the load: the cooking, the cleaning, the childcare, the emotional support, the scheduling, the day-to-day management of the household. Some research even says that women are working X amount of hours of unpaid labor every week. So we want to get to the bottom of this, right? We want to know if this is actually true, right? This is marriage legalized slavery. And so we're going to have this conversation. Of course, I can't have it by myself. I have the best queens in the world for this conversation, my favorite queens. I am on a panel with Dr. LaNee Javet, who is a brilliant strategist. She monetization strategist. I am also joined by Aisha Virzi, who is a financial and insurance expert. I am also with our real estate queen, Shalaye Camillo, who is CEO of Vital Source Realty. All right, so let's get it popping. Let's get this conversation started. I'm going to start with you, Dr. LaNee. What was your initial reaction to just hearing Leslie say marriage is legalized slavery?
Initially, I thought I could see how she would say that if she hadn't been married. A lot of times we make our perspective be so that it's not painful to us. So rather than saying, damn, I'm not married, let's just say, oh, you know what? Marriage sounds like legal slavery. I don't want no parts of that. So I just felt like sometimes we create a narrative to make whatever we're dealing with and going through be less painful.
Okay, so it's the pain, it's the trauma. All right, Aisha, what do you think? What were your initial reactions?
When I saw that topic or her comment, my first thing was, first I didn't know who she was until I saw oh, that's her. I said, oh, that's white. And then when I said, well, you know what? It just depends, I guess. And I said to myself, I said, well, have you ever really experienced it? That was my first thought too. Are you married or are you not married? I didn't really go to check if she was married or not. That was my first thought. So then you must have a poor vetting process. And that was how I ended it. I said, you know what? That's it.
Okay. All right. She got a poor vetting process. And after seeing her face, she was like, oh, I see. All right, Shalaye, what were your thoughts?
Okay. So my thoughts are, it is true for some, because we're also getting this information from women who have been through it. So
yeah. All right. So I mean, I guess initially, I thought Okay. I mean, I was kind of taken aback. Like, I mean, that's pretty strong, right? That's a lot. That's a harsh statement to make. But I think once, I started to produce the show, I was just thinking, oh, okay. Okay. Well, this is interesting. So I'm really excited to really break this thing down. So let's start with the first video of
Yeah,
Leslie explaining.
chair real quick before you go, please.
Well, we
Let me
about to
just.
play the video. We about to play the video, girl.
Trad wife meaning like I'd be at home and no.
Like making Oreos from scratch.
I don't absolutely not.
Why not?
Because that's not who the I am. And my daddy didn't raise me like that.
To be a trad wife.
To be anybody's wife. My dad used to literally say that to me. I didn't raise you to be somebody's wife.
That's so brave.
I don't know if it's brave or smart. Most of the people that I know that's gotten married are divorced now.
And so really that's an indictment of the institution.
Yeah. I think marriage is legalized slavery.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Say more, because if I'm thinking about slavery and I'm thinking about marriage, there are two different images that come
Absolutely
into my head.
not. I don't know how you don't. A man is, especially if he's expecting you to be a trad wife, you might as well pull out a whip and a chain.
Wow. So there are young people watching who might be wanting to get married. What would you say to them?
Don't.
Don't get married.
No.
Okay.
Oh God, you are crazy.
How am I crazy?
You are crazy.
You're saying that marriage is like...
No, I don't believe in the marriage. No, I don't.
So you wouldn't get married?
No, and I don't think it's beneficial for a woman at all.
That's what's wrong with the internet. It gives too many people opinions, and you end up looking dumb and sounding dumb, and then you share your dumb ideas and opinions with the world, and somebody else who's not quite that smart will attach it and be like, oh, this makes sense. That's dumb.
Okay. All right. So I'll start with Dr. LaNee. So you disagree completely with the way she said that her father taught her that marriage was not a good idea, that it wasn't she didn't raise her to be somebody's wife. And so what do you think about that perspective? Like, be self-sufficient. You don't have to, you don't have to follow behind a man and put all your love and trust in all of that into a man. You be self-sufficient. You do what you need to do. So basically he raised her to be an independent woman.
I think that parents can see certain things in us. Like, I'm sure all of us have kids. You can look at your kid and see certain things in your kid, traits, things that you know, right? If he saw in his daughter that she was going to grow up and be a strong, independent woman, that a man could not lead, he probably was like, listen, you probably not going to be, you're not wife material. So if you're not going to be a wife, don't even worry about being a wife. You're going to have to be out here in the world looking out for yourself. You're going to have to provide for yourself. You're going to have to give yourself provision. You're going to lead yourself. So don't you scrap that and make sure you're out here and can take care of yourself. If that's what he saw in her and that works for her, then that works for her. The issue is, don't go out here preaching the gospel on your experience, what you believe for you. That's not for every woman. I'm not saying that it's bad or it's wrong for her as an individual. I will tell you, when I was growing up, I did not want to get married and I did not want to have kids. Like, in my heart and spirit, I knew that for a very long time. I'm not going to get married. I'm not going to have kids. Way too selfish. Love myself. I don't want to share. I don't want to do those things. I don't want to have to. I don't want to. And I was that way at least since I was like 22, 23. When I got pregnant with my son's father was the one that was like, listen, we're going to do this. And I was like, he was like, no, we're going to do this. Like, that's what changed my mind. But I knew that it wasn't probably going to be that. And then as I got older and I got wiser and I better understood what a man does as far as protection and provision and how he speaks to you and nurtures you and things like that, I started to change. So it's not bad or wrong if that's for you, but don't preach that gospel to everybody.
Okay. Don't preach it. I think it comes down to love and labor, right? So there's these conversations about the amount of work that you do or you have to do in a marriage. And I don't think when you're thinking about just love, like, I just love him or I just love her, you're not thinking about the whole picture of what comes with marriage. So Aisha, as a married queen, is there something to what she's saying in terms of like being not the slave part? I mean, what she said, the slave part of it, the labor part of it, women having to, I mean, it's a fact. Women at this point work an extra 15 hours a week as a married woman as opposed to a single woman. So I'm wondering, just as a married queen, do you see that?
Before I answer your question real quick, I want to just correct
Say what you were gonna say.
it
Okay.
off first.
Okay.
Because when I saw her picture, it wasn't her. I mean, her persona when
Yeah.
she's on stage. Now I said, oh, I know why, because she's very direct. So I can see
Mhm.
why that doesn't work for her, right? That was why I meant, not anything that anybody is thinking. It was her persona. She's very strong personality, right? So a very strong personality. She speaks her mind. She doesn't hold back. That's what I was talking about, right? So, but when it comes to marriage and labor, I think again, it just depends on how you see marriage. To me, marriage is a covenant. It's a
Mhm.
covenant. It's something you get into between you, your spouse, and God, and then of course your community. And to me, marriage is a reflection of who God is, meaning you serve and you lay down your life for the other person. That doesn't mean I do it well all the time, but that is how I have been raised to look at marriage. So that's how I look at marriage. No matter what the situation is, that's how I always look at marriage. And when it comes to labor, absolutely. And when it comes to the housework, I do more than my husband. And that's not because that, oh, that's my role, you do the work. It's just the way it just fell in my family, that I am the one that is at home, so I do all the other stuff because I'm home. I do the stuff. My husband is out working and providing for the family, and I'm at home, and my work requires me to just be on my computer for a few hours, and I can take time to do my housework. So I don't see that as something bad or something that I should be comparing my husband with at all.
Mhm.
And I'm grateful that before I got married, we went to this class where we literally, as engaged couple, had to write who is responsible specifically for a particular role. So that way, no matter what, you still be the one to take that role, even if you have to have somebody do it for you, designate somebody to do it for you, but you still have that role. You're responsible for that role. And I am the home keeper. I am the one that cooks the food, clean, make sure the laundry is done. Before the show, I was cooking, I was prepping for dinner already, because that's my role. And I take it seriously, because to me, labor for my family is like prayer. It's not
Mhm.
something I do because it makes the family better. It makes us happier. It makes their children grow well and feel that there's a balance of whatever we're doing, right? So that's how I
Mhm.
see it. The labor to me is prayer and giving back to my family.
Okay. All right. That's a perspective. All right. Shalaye, what are your thoughts on what Leslie said now that you've heard them? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think that there's one way to look at it, like she should not be preaching that. The other way to look at it is also we've been preached to ad nauseum for centuries about you have to be married as a woman. So I feel like it may be, it needs to be balanced. And I feel like marriage is a choice.
Mhm.
And it's like, what is the goal? If the goal is you're only successful if you're married and you live in that kind of mentality and community or whatever, then marriage has to be the goal. If you're a person who has other thoughts about that, maybe that is not the goal, but that doesn't mean that you're wrong, because there are also plenty, thousands, millions of examples of women who are not married, living full, wonderful, peaceful, beautiful, dopamine full, fulfilled lives. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like there's a place for each person's perspective, because it's about perspective.
Okay. Okay. Um, it's interesting. I can see both sides. I think that's just my brain, like my little Gemini brain, where they say that there's two people. I don't know, but that part of me, or the journalist in me, like the Gemini and the journalist, which can see like, okay, I can see how, especially like I said, when I started to do the research and how much labor is added to the woman after she gets married versus when she's single. I think there was like all these stats that says like when married women are more susceptible to like heart attacks and all these things that are just from just working more, just having to take on the brunt of, and so I just thought that that was interesting, right? As opposed to being single, right? Or
Mhm.
you don't have to do all the things, but I think to each his own. You can choose a life of to be a single woman, or you can choose the life to be a married woman. I think both of them are hard. They just have different hearts, right? So I think that is
Mhm.
that's basically what I said. But then I found a video, and I'll go to this next video because I like the videos that I had. That I think they add a lot of perspective to this conversation. So I'll play one more video, and then we'll do another round of questions, and then I'm coming to the. I
It was
see y'all in the
never
chat.
about you as a woman thriving in happiness, peace, and joy. It has always primarily been a system of power, okay? It's a legal contract. The government in your country needs people to get married. There are laws that govern the forming of a marriage, the dissolution of a marriage. Okay, it was always about passing property from one family, one country, one kingdom to another. It was about securing power, dominating, conquering lands and people, and securing and often hoarding resources. This is why you would have young babies or babies being betrothed, okay, before that child could even consciously be aware that they are now betrothed to marry somebody else. Marriage was usually by arrangement, and if you look across cultures, civilizations, etc., that's the way marriage has always functioned, as a tool of power. It has. And marriage, given the fact that it was the only survival option for women for many, many centuries all over the world, it has also been used as a tool of control. And so the statement being made that marriage is modern slavery is not actually far-fetched. It is not untrue in many ways. It's just that you as a woman have been bamboozled into believing that marriage equals love, that marriage is about love, that marriage is primarily the primary, okay, and ultimate legitimate expression of a man's love for you. And that is not the case. The facts, the research, the data, the evidence, whether it's qualitative, quantitative, anecdotal, all point in that direction. Romance, marriage, and love is a relatively modern concept. Those three things being linked, and that is modern. That is modern.
All right, so okay.
I'm super
Okay.
big on the messenger. I feel like you got to send your best messenger out to deliver a message, or at least deal with your mustache before you get out here talking about relationships. I was looking up stats. So one of the I'm super committed to Black excellence, Black love, Black relationships, the Black family. So I was looking up some stats because I wanted to see how damaging is this narrative on marriage, right? I think Anonymous was talking about marriage rates. I went to go look them up. And what does it say? Okay. Historically, Black marriage rates are going to be lower, right? As of in the 1970s, from the 1970s until roughly 2010, before showing a recent unexpected and steady rebound. As of 2023, approximately 31 to 35% of Black adults are married, which is up from about 29% in 2010, but still far below the national average of 48%. Black marriage rates hit their lowest point around 2010 when only 29% of Black adults were married. In 1990, the percentage of Black adults who had never been married was 37%. By 2022, this increased to 49%. Now, this was what Anonymous was talking about. The median age for first marriages has increased. In 1970, the median age for men was 23.2 and 20.8 for women. By 2022, it was over 30 and 28 for women. No, that's not what it was. I was looking for the gender breakdown. That's what Anonymous was talking about. Recent data shows approximately 36 to 41% of Black men are married, compared to about 29 to 30% of Black women. About 50% of Black adults have never been married, compared to 34% of all Americans. When we see and hear these stats, it is our responsibility to make sure that we are not out here preaching negative gospel about Black marriages. Are there bad marriages? Yes, but that is on the picker. That is not on the sanctity of marriage. It is based on the man and or woman that you marry. If you marry a man that is, I'm not going to say super biblical, I'm going to say who is strong in man roles and responsibilities, we'll say it that way, and he runs his home with an iron fist, then yeah, you might end up in one of those types of roles and positions. If you live in some Protestant community or something, or if you live, just depending on how you were brought up and raised, you might have that. But for the most part, I'm looking at my girlfriends and friends who've been married 20, 30 years. We 50. They've been married 20, 30 years and they have great marriages. So that makes me then come to who you hanging out with? What kind of people are you around? What kind of marriages do they have? Are there bad marriages? Yes, but that again, you can't. I hate the internet because it makes everyone feel like they're monolithic. Like everybody got something different going on.
Well, I mean, I just want to also say, I feel like we lost our way on what she was saying in the video, right? We went on a tangent in another direction when this young lady was just saying the purpose of marriage from the beginning has been a business contract. It's been about survival. It's been about, families arranging marriages for centuries. Love wasn't the foundation of what marriage is about. Is a modern concept. Love is love, and loving and being married for the sake of just because you love a person is not, it wasn't what marriage was for from the foundation. So if we're saying that, then that is what this young lady was saying. You were hard on her mustache for like, but she was just laying the foundation, I feel like, for just saying this was the purpose of marriage. Now what we get married for now is just different, and so that we end up marrying, I think, wrong because of the reason, because it's just like I love him and I love and also, we did a documentary a couple years ago. I did one with Dr. Boyce, and I interviewed 6 couples that have been married for 30 years plus. And what I deduced from that is that even though black love is, there was a lot of women that was like, yeah, I mean, for I had to sacrifice. There was times when I did everything right. Like while he was away making money, I think I took care of the children. I did this, I did that, I did this, and we just he went to the army, or there was just a lot of sacrifice. And so I think that is the foundation. Nobody is saying that black men and black women are unmarried and not made for each other and all of that stuff. We're just saying there's a foundation. We're looking at the history of what marriage was for. So that was the point of the foundation. So I'm gonna come to you, Aisha. What is your response to what she said? Because LaNee went for her. But what do you think about what she said about the foundation and why we marry?
I can see her point in saying that marriage is like a contract, it's a business. But I think again, you have to ask yourself, well, who are these people that were doing it in such a way? Those were the monarchies, right, in the past, because they wanted to keep their wealth in their family. So then they did all of those things. That is what, because you can tell from her accent that she's probably in Britain, somewhere in Britain. I have a lot of friends in Britain and all that great stuff, and they colonized my country, so I get it, and I understand all that she's talking about. So who are we really following? Are we following what the King Henry and all his cohorts did and what they wanted to do? Is that what we're following, or are we really following the right? I will always look at marriage through the lens of how God wanted it to be. It's supposed to be a place of refuge. It's not a place of suffering and this and that. It is not. So if we listen to people that speak based on what people have done, right, it doesn't really make it that is the only way it is. There are some people too that are doing it correctly. Those are the people that we should surround ourselves with and learn from them. That is the kind of people that I surround myself with. So that's where I deduct my knowledge and understanding of marriage from my own parents. My mom and my dad were married all their life until she passed away, and the people that are around me are married all their lives, even here. So that is how I surround myself, people that is what I see. That's my example. It doesn't mean that everything was perfect. It doesn't. There's still struggles along the way, but there's this community around you to support that being married helps you, right? And still in that same group, not everybody's married, right? And it's okay as well, because not everybody's called to a married life. So the fact that some people speak so like negative about it is what is kind of like, wow, take a break, because some of us that are married that don't have that kind of experience look at you and think you're speaking some kind of Greek or something that we don't understand, right? So that's what I think. That no, I understand how the whole process of it's a contract, it's a business to protect wealth. But guess what? Though people today that actually have their wealth are those that are married, that keep their wealth, that have longevity, they have generational wealth. They're married. So there's some truth to that as well, right? So I guess to each of its own. But I truly believe in the covenant of marriage. No matter what anybody says, how they try to twist it around,
Of course.
sorry, doesn't work for
All
me.
good. No, all good. Okay. All right. Shalaye, I just think this is really interesting. I just think it's interesting, y'all. Obviously, I'm a girly that wants to get married and all the things, but I definitely think this is interesting. There, you cannot deny that just the idea of, the foundation. I see anonymous in the comments talking about this was like we're talking about centuries and these, but I see the correlation between the way we live our lives now and the reasons why our grandmothers, our great grandmas and grandmas and great grandmas got married to men because out of survival, because they had to stay in those situations because they had to. And so we're deciding in this, in these modern times, not to do that. Like, people do it all the time. Be like, I'm not staying with no man. You would never, you wouldn't even make it as long as your grandma or your great grandma did, because you don't even have that. You don't have the foundation to stick to itness at all. Shalaye. Shalaye, what are your thoughts about what this young lady said?
This
With the
is so
mustache, that's what
layered,
they
and we
said.
need more than an hour, and y'all are all hitting the nail on the head. But again, it's about perspective, right? So I'm gonna try to connect dots here. Okay. So yes, it was important. I think that women, we need to manage, if we're gonna do marriage, then we need to manage our expectations around marriage. We need to manage the expectations around the person that we are choosing to marry. Okay, because yes, marriage is important for business and legacy and planning and pooling resources and things like that. It is super important. And if you're blessed to have the right type of partner that you can do that with in love, that is the ultimate blessing. That is the ultimate thing that any of us would want. But we cannot deny the fact of the basis of marriage was a business contract. That's what it was. I believe I heard a story recently, and supposedly it's fact, right? The internet, that love and romance came in when knights and men who did not have a lot of resources, that was their game. Like, I'm going to romance her. That's how they got a one up on the men who had money. And there is also a place for that. I feel like the conundrum is that, just like you said, Tiara, right now, women are in a space, generally, I'm not saying all women, but generally in a space where we can provide financially for ourselves. We can kind of protect ourselves in that provision, right? To a certain extent. And we are asking we are no longer saying just, I got to get married so I can survive, so my kids can survive. We're actually asking men to come to the table with character and integrity and all of these other things that historically men have not had to do. You could be the ultimate player of the year, walking down the street with aquariums in your shoes, and you got a woman, you got multiple. Okay. And so I think that that's really, and I'm hoping that the next generation is gonna, it'll be better. But I think that's really our conundrum, is that we're having this clash because the traditional way of being married, not all women are rejecting that and saying, I don't want that. I want to feel good in a marriage. I want to feel good with a person. And I keep hearing this point of women pick wrong. Some women do, some people do. We're all humans, right? No one is infallible, but all women aren't picking wrong. Men show up, and I'm not generalizing all men, but a lot of men show up wearing masks. A lot of women show up knowing what it is a woman is looking for and play that role until he can't play it anymore. And then it comes out, and then you're in this relationship with him, and you're in this marriage with him. And once he got you in this marriage, then you see this other person. Most of my friends are married. And I have people who have been married for 17 years. I have a lot of friends who are getting divorced right now. And I'm getting different perspectives. And again, it goes back to perspective and managing your expectation on what you want out of this marriage. Are you looking for someone to build with, and you're okay with, like, I don't really, love him in that way, but I'm okay with that because I want this thing? Or are you marrying someone because you're in love with them in the moment, but they don't have all the other pieces that you have not evaluated, that, ooh, if I don't have that, that's my 80%, and this is not going to work once my feelings fade. So I think it's a conundrum that we're in. I think it's a healthy place that we're in, because we're having these conversations. And I go back to, everyone has a choice, to put it on women that they're like selfish if they don't want to get married. I think that that's a narrative that goes around too. And I mean, we're due for some selfishness, but I also don't think that a woman is just saying, I only care about myself because I don't want to get married. She's saying, I love myself. And if someone will come in and meet me at the level that I love myself, I'm not going to lower myself to be with someone just so I can say that I'm married and feel like I'm a part of some society or some special club.
Okay. All right. Before I go to this next video, that kind of gives us real life data. Like, I just want the data on love and labor. LaNee, I cannot go to the video without just seeing if you have an additional thought, because your face your face says some things. Do you have something to add to this before I go to this next video? Because your face, friend.
I hate that we just sit around tearing down black anything, black everything. Like, if it's black, we're gonna talk bad about it. And I'm specifically talking about folks who tear down anything that helps us get further, right? Like we can't have nothing. We can't have black love. We can't have black marriages. Now it's slavery. Like I don't think people think about the stuff that comes out of their mouth when they get online and they start spewing stuff. And then these become real conversations. Like, we really have to have a conversation about marriage being slavery when we have ancestors who died trying to say that this is the person that I want to be with for the rest of my life and love. When we understand that marriage, the sanctity of marriage is wealth. When we understand that two are better than one, like, why are we running around here teaching this stuff? I just don't think that people think before they speak, and they speak about their own circumstances. Again, there is nothing wrong with what Leslie said for herself, for her. It's when you go out and propagate this to somebody else who might be struggling and trying to figure it out, trying to think about it. We have more than enough negative stereotypes around being independent and being a black woman and all these things to then come in and do this other thing. Like, it's just we can't win for losing. It irks me. It just irks me to my soul. There's so many things happening in the real world to be over here dividing us even more.
You know, I don't think a conversation, if conversations are being had online, and we are an online platform, I think it's important to also engage and offer this.
Not us.
No. I'm just
talking about as the black community. Like, we got real problems going on in our real community.
Right. But people are having this. When I tell you, there was so many conversations around this being had that I just thought it was really important that we talk about it. But I do want to talk about, and I don't even know if this is like a black community thing, right? Because this young lady that I'm about to play is just a white woman, right? So, but in general, I think the data says this about marriage in general. So just so you know, that we're not specifically talking about black marriages, but we're talking about marriage as a construct, as collectively. Like, we're talking about just the idea of marriage and what it represents at this point. So I just want to lay that foundation. I want to make sure that we're clear that we're not bashing black love or whatever, but we are having a conversation around the foundation of marriage. And are we approaching it the right way? Is this, let's go to the video. All right, so this is her
labor in
talking
their
about
relationship, specifically when it comes to, say, the housework, the cooking, the cleaning, the laundry, and taking care of kids. One of the most common pieces of pushback that men have is that they work longer hours or they earn more money. And if their partner wants to go out and earn more money and or work longer hours, or maybe even switch, right? She's going to work full time, be the sole earner, and he's going to stay at home, then he'll do more work at home. But what's so interesting about this narrative is that regardless of the situation, no matter what, women do a disproportionate amount of the work at home. So let's talk about it. This is a chart from Emily Oster, and it says caregiving and household work are not equally shared. Women spend more hours per week than men, even when their earnings are equal. So let's break it down. Here, egalitarian. When women and men earn the same amount of money and probably work similar hours, women do more hours per week. When the husband is the primary earner, women do much more per week. When he's a sole earner, it goes up even further, and you'll see that the men stays the same regardless. But when women are the primary earners, so they're the breadwinner, or the sole earners, they still do much more. The only dynamic where men do more is when the wife is the sole earner, and it is nothing compared to the alternative, right? When men are the sole earners, women are doing 32.1 hours a week here, hours a week, compared to men doing 18.9. And that's the reality of the situation. No matter the dynamic, whether or not you're both working full time, who earns more money, who stays at home, women are doing disproportionately more housework, more childcare than their male counterparts are. So it's no wonder women are so incredibly burnt out by motherhood. And there's this huge narrative online that women are unhappy as mothers, that they're unhappy in their relationships. And if we look at this chart, I think it's pretty obvious why. They are overburdened with the amount of work in their homes and with raising children compared to their male counterparts.
I was just having a conversation with my friend last night, and she was like, "Girl, I am just so tired." And because we ain't gonna talk about the single married women, right? So she was like, "Girl," and her husband was sitting right on the couch, right? And she was like, "I've done this today." Now, although they're going to therapy today, that is part of, like, she was just like, "I feel like I'm in a relationship with somebody who's immature," right? So we literally just had the conversation yesterday. So I'm seeing that a lot in where women are just taking on the brunt in relationship in general. I'm talking about in marriages in general, right? Even if you're working a full-time job and then you come home, you still have to do all the things. But I love what Shalaye said earlier about setting the expectations and in your relationship, saying this is what it's going to be. This is the way we can both be happy, and I don't feel like a workhorse in this relationship. I think that's what Leslie is ultimately saying. Women are getting into relationships and feeling like a workhorse in them, right? As opposed to just being single and doing whatever. So Aisha, I'm gonna come back to you on that. Now that she's given us some numbers in terms of women just doing more than men, what is that? How does that feel to you, or how does that register to you as a married woman?
It is true that I do more work than my husband. It is very, very true. There's no ways about it. But does that mean that that's a bad thing? No, it doesn't. It just means that if you and I live in a house with the man, the guy, he doesn't care if the house doesn't look clean. He just doesn't. Most guys don't. We carry it on ourselves. We do this, that, and then we want to blame him for taking a break. I'll give you an example. Same thing. Easter, I was busy getting everything ready. I did more. My husband said, "Hey, where's everybody?" Because everybody's relaxing. He's relaxing. So just ask. We'll help you. Literally, just ask us. Tell us what to do. We'll come and help you. But if you don't ask us, we feel you want things specifically done specific way, so you do it. Right. So I think that sometimes when we talk about that in a way where it seems like, oh, it's you versus me, then it does bring that craziness between the family dynamic, which isn't supposed to be that way. Sometimes you may do more work than the man, or even all the time. It's just because women are just that way. We're nurturers. We see things that men don't see. So it tends to seem like we do more work. That's because of the way we're built. We're helpmate. God made us to be the helpmate. So the helpmate, see, they do more, they serve more, because that's how you were created. You're a helpmate. You're a helpmate in your family, whether it's with your husband or the children. And the kids, who are they going to call if they're hungry? Mom. It's just natural. So then that makes you feel like you're doing more work, because the kids will want mom. What the way mom does it better? I don't like the way daddy does it. So then you feel like you're doing more work. So how are you going to calculate that? It's so unfair to make it seem that way, that, oh, we're doing so much work, so we're tired. My husband just said, just ask me to help you. I'll help you. Just ask, right? Don't do everything all by yourself. And also, sometimes community matters. If you do everything by yourself in a place where you don't have communal way of doing things, you find out that you're doing everything by yourself. But if you have people that you can bounce help from, like my neighbor, she'll ask, if you need help, let me know, I'll help you. We'll help each other out. So it doesn't seem like you're the only one doing everything all the time. But just knowing that it's okay. We are helpmates. Women, that's just how God made us. Don't negate you being a woman as a helpmate. It's okay. And if you don't want to do the work, ask for help.
My my seemingly annoyed queen. LaNee, oh my, like, are you good? Shit, are you good? We just having a conversation, girl. You okay?
I don't want y'all hear me over here below my nose. I love what Aisha said. Let me start there.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
I've been having a debate on feminism for probably the last year and a half. A lot of it is on my femininity and who I am and how I am. But anyways, And I have been debating feminism and feminists. And in this conversation, the light went off. Like, I get what he's saying now. Women want to be men. Women fucking want to be men. We out here competing to be men. I want him to do what I do. I want to do what he do. We should be equal. We should be doing the same. I should be doing what that's crazy. We are not made the same. A man's role and job is different from a woman's role and job. Like, no shade, no tea to men. No shade, no tea to men. We are better in organization. We are better in nurturing. We can handle 3 things. We can throw balls up. We can take care of the sick baby on our hip, cook the dinner, and have a phone conversation. Man is not created that way. He can do one thing at a time. Again, no shade, no tea to men. The reason why you have a helpmate is to help, because y'all carry the weight of the world. I'm not saying y'all don't carry the weight of the world, but we support you in carrying the weight of the world and run the house. Like, we can do more. You know what I'm saying? Again, no shade to men. It's just how God made us. Like, we can do all of the different things. We might as well be octopus, right? So when we then go and say, God made us great in all the things that we can do, why doesn't he do what we could do? He can't. And I got to make sure I'm not dissing men. I'm just big up some women and our capacity and the things that we can do. So you can't walk in and now, this is not about equality with regards to monies. Like, I'm not talking about that. If we doing the same job, you should pay me what you pay him. That's what I'm talking about. I'm only talking about in the household. If you want to switch, so this is the conversation me and my dude be having. He was like, you've never had anybody take care of you. You don't even know what it looks like. I was like, I haven't. My grandmother had 5 girls. All her girls had girls. I don't have no brothers. I don't have no uncles. I don't have no cousin. So all I know is a woman doing what has to be done. And so stepping under covering and provision, it is very difficult because I call all the shots. I run my house. I take care of my mom. I look out, like, I do all the things. I do my role and the role of what a man is supposed to do. So then when you say, to let a man come in and get under covering, it's not, I thought that it could be slavery. Like, I literally see what she's saying, because again, that's how I used to think, like, I ain't about to be a ain't no man about to tell me what to do. I call the shot. Until you get with a real man who wants to provide for you and cover you and take care of you. And all you have to do is be a woman. That's all you got to do. You mean all I got to do is be a lady? I get to be a passenger princess. You're going to take care of me? You just want me to cook you some food, baby? Don't worry about it. I got you some food. Can I get the credit card? Oh, you just want me to make sure the kids is cool? All right, cool. I'm about to go on vacation. Like, that's all I got to do is be a lady? Get the fuck out of here. We've been sold a lie. Now, if you don't got you a good man, I understand. But if you have a man who is a real man and provides and takes care of and nurtures and does all that thing, and the only thing you have to do is be a woman. I gotta call him when we get done and be like, you was right, baby.
So you know what's interesting about what's synonymous with being a woman is, like you just said, we do all the things. Being an octopus sounds draining for me. Like, it just, after being an octopus for so long, that feels like a drain. So I know for me, when choosing a husband, I want a man like, one of my little friend used to serve in the army. So when you walk in, he has OCD, so everything is clean already. What you saying? I ain't gotta clean nothing? So it's just really about the person. He like, oh, I love to cook. You love to cook? Cool. Like, this would be great for me, because I don't want that. Like, walking into I had one of my cousins, I remember watching her as she was going through her marriage. And I remember she would be out all day taking the kids out. And when she walked in the house, the house would be dirty. Like, but the man has been there all day, right? Like, all day. And it's like, it's hard. And then she would just put the kids down and then clean up everything. And so I feel like when we're talking about, maybe that's the unsexy part of marriage. And I think it's real. Like, she's not the only woman that I've seen had to deal with, a man that just who's like, oh, you gonna clean it up, like, or whatever. Like, not.
That's your mate being aloof. But again, it comes back to your picture. It comes back to
a marriage, girl. Like,
that couldn't be my marriage. That couldn't be my marriage.
It doesn't have to. That's why it's important. It's important that you look and see what compatibility looks like. oh, you like to do this, because I really don't like to do this, but I would love to do this. I'll help with that. As long as those, I don't want to be a man, but I definitely don't want to be like all and be all in my relationship anymore. Like, it's tiring. Like, I only have
the thing. You just said anymore. So if somebody asks me why I'm not married, I don't want to have to be. If I have to be the man in the relationship, it doesn't make sense. So if I have to do, to your point, all the things,
is that,
I'm the man.
Is that considered a man? Is a man?
Me,
oh my gosh. Can I jump in here?
Like, I'm coming.
I need, if you have to outdo me. You got to outdo me. If you don't outdo me, then I'm doing what you're supposed to do. So I need, if you're coming in as the man, then you're the leader. You're the guy. You're like it releases me. But if I have to be the man, if you per se, the provision, the one that goes to you, got to ask me the questions. We can't operate like that. I already do that in my regular everyday life. So if we're talking about marriage, we're talking about companionship, we're talking about helpmate, we're talking about partnership and teammate, we're working together. There's equally yoked. And I think some of this conversation really depends on, what do you believe? Like, are you biblical? Are you worldly? Like, all that to me comes into play, because to me, a lot of the conversation, because if you go by what the Bible says, like it's a mute point to me. But if we're going by what the world says and what social media says and what Leslie Jones says and all these other people, you're letting all these people into your house and your relationship. This is what leads to confusion. Sorry, Shalaye. I know you're trying to get it.
I know Shalaye been burning to say.
See, y'all gonna make me forget what I got to say here.
No, you wrote it down. We know who you are. Go ahead. Read from the paper.
You know, I'll be taking notes. I gotta keep the mind right.
I already know.
Okay. So, okay. And again, my take on all of this, and y'all can go back and look at the tapes. It's about personal choice, right? And personal choice is shaped by beliefs, experiences, everything, right? You and Aisha just said, you laid it out, who a woman is. A woman is someone who does all the things. We can do this, we can do that, we can do. And poor him, y'all, I'm not really saying that. Poor him, he can only do one thing. And then you flipped it and said, now when I get into a marriage though, I don't want to be the one to doing this and doing that and doing this and doing that. I want him to come with some things. And this is what women are saying. So I think we all saying the same thing, but we're just on different what is it called? Omniverses or universe or something. Okay. Because there is a difference between equality and equity. Okay. No, we're not equal. Men and women are not equal. We are biologically built to do certain things that men cannot do and would not do if they had the option, right? So it's not equal. A man can take a sledgehammer and maybe tear into framing in a wall, and we might not be able to easily do that. So we are not equal, but things should be equitable. It shouldn't be that a wife is doing, and everybody else sitting on the couch looking at her. And then it's like, oh, well, if you would just ask, we'll help you out. And I'm not saying, Aisha, it might be okay with you, but I think
go ahead and cook, girl.
No, I think that's what women are saying. The women that are saying these things are saying, no, for me, no, that's not going to work. I don't want to be having the 8 arms and doing all the things and people looking at me like, you got it, keep going. Why do I have to ask? If you see I'm struggling, jump in. That's equity. It's not about, I hear this all the time. Oh, men and women aren't equal, to where it's just like a cloud. It disintegrates. Equality and equity are two different things. Okay. Women still have to do what needs to be done in a marriage. Y'all can go pull the stats. Pull the stats on even historically, our grandmothers, our mothers, our great grandmothers, right? How many of them, what's the percentage of Black women? And this isn't even a Black issue. This is just an issue with men and women right now in this day and age. But how many Black women still worked and did all of it and couldn't even ask her? You better not dare ask him to get up off the couch and help you clean or cook or rear the kids or give the kids a bath or put them to bed or take the kids to the dentist and the doctor's appointment and go to the PTA and go pick them up from school and go on the play dates and plan the birthday party. How somebody come up with the stats? What's the percentage? Because I can guarantee you now, my grandmothers, both of them did not work. They worked if they wanted to. But my great grandmothers, my mom, they had to work. And my grandmother, who is still married to my grandfather to this day, and let me be careful here. I'm not saying that she didn't have a life that was the best that she could make it. But I'd be willing to bet that there are things about her life that she wanted to personally fulfill that wasn't even a question. You couldn't even question ambition and things like, what are you talking about? Even from my mom and dad got married in the 70s, 1974. My mother was expected to graduate high school and get married because that's what they did. And it was not the right situation for her. And she was brave to divorce my dad with 4 girls in the 80s. So we just have to start giving humans and remembering that we're humans and giving people grace for the moment. And the moment that I think we're being called to right now is that women are no longer going to accept what women had to accept. And there will be some women that want to be a trad wife, and that is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And no one should be demonized or criminalized for that. And then there are women who are going to say, you know what? Motherhood is actually more important to me than marriage. Or I don't want to be a mother or a wife. I'm just enjoying my life because you know what? It's her life.
Okay.
And she has a choice.
All right. Like, then y'all cooking today. I love all of these things. For the record, right? Like, I want to be married. I want a husband. But I do like conversation, and I love to push the boundaries on certain things. I like to think outside of the box. It's just who I am, right? And then reel it back in, like, nah, I don't believe that. But I love going there with y'all and then coming back and being like, but I believe this, right? So just so you know, this is just a journalist in me. But let's play another video before we go to our International Woman of the Day and our final thoughts. I want to play this last video. I had so many good videos today.
To learning about women's health, let me tell you, I didn't know that when a woman and a man get married, that husbands actually create 7 more hours per week of household chores for that woman. Ain't that crazy? What does that have to do with health? Well, single women recover better from heart attacks compared to their married counterparts. In fact, 2016, there was a Canadian study that found that women that were recovering from heart surgery would actually not fare well compared to their male counterparts because they were able to isolate that women were going back to doing care work for their families compared to men who had somebody to take care of them. And that's just so messed up. It's so crazy. I've been planning a future with my girl. We've been talking about, making the big step in life. Come to find out, I'm low-key threatening her. I ain't know none of that. What's so crazy is that globally, 75% of unpaid labor is done by women, okay? That's including laundry, cooking, cleaning, anything like that, all right? That's 3 to 6 extra hours to their day compared to men's 30 minutes to 2 hours extra, which is so mind-boggling, right? What is also insane is when you think about your work week, think about it this way. Everybody works 40, 60 hours a week. And then women also have that extra 5 to 10 hours of unpaid labor.
Okay. So I think, ultimately, y'all, what's being said is that women is working hard, right? In their marriages, outside their marriage. Because if you single, you at a job that's paying you a lot of money, or single women are working and they getting their money, but they working, they giving their time and efforts to big corporations, right? So I think that ultimately, when approaching marriage, it sounds like you just have to be really mindful about what your marriage looks like for you. Because nobody wants to be a workhorse. Nobody wants to feel like a workhorse or like they're going unappreciated, excuse me. And like they, they're not valued, right? They nobody wants to feel like that, where it's like, even on my deathbed, I need to get up and like help my family, right? Feeling, I don't know where we get, as women, we get that from, and I know where we get it from, but I just don't feel like we have to. I love what the queens have said about just being more communicative about the things that we need, as opposed to just like feeling like I'm a woman, I have to take the brunt of everything. Like I don't know. I maybe instead of the 8 arms, just use 5 of your arms. Like, just, you ain't gonna give the other 3 arms to somebody else. Like, delegate something. So let's go to our before we get into final thoughts, queens. I want to go to our Black woman fact, which is coming. Aisha's gonna, you know, hold on one second. God dang it. I don't have here we go. All right, so we are going to shout out who, Aisha, today.
Her name is Foloronsho Alakija. She's a businesswoman, and she started her, she really built one of the largest privately held oil companies in Africa. She started her career in fashion first, and then she transitioned into oil, and she built massive wealth through ownership, strategy, and positioning. And she's married to her husband, and his name is Modipo Olakija, and they have 4 children.
Right,
There.
there we go. All right, right. So just saying that. I love how she a lot of women don't transition from fashion to oil. That's amazing. But I shout out to her. She's also Nigerian, so that was the reason why we had to celebrate her. Shout out to Nigerian. All right, let's get into these final thoughts. I don't even know. Just make sure we keep the final thoughts brief, because we only got a few more seconds left. Let people know where they can find you. I think I want to start today with Shalaye, if you can give us a brief final thought. You know what would be your advice? What would be the advice you give to women about marriage and labor and money? What would be something you would give if a woman was currently unhappy with the balance of labor and love that she was experiencing in her marriage? What would you say?
Oh, I would definitely say to speak up. And coming from someone who uh, was raised to kind of people please and kind of fill in and jump in and take responsibility, and you start feeling resentful of that, you have to make the change. And if you don't change, nothing will change. As long as you keep doing it, everybody will keep taking and let you do it. I've been there. So that's my final thought. Do you, boo boo? Everyone has a choice. I'm Shalaye with Vital Source Realty. I'm located in Boston, Massachusetts, but I would love to help you buy or sell real estate anywhere in the United States or Canada. I can help you do that. So if you are interested in purchasing some real estate or selling some real estate anywhere in the United States and Canada, please reach out to me. I am at Shalaye Camillo on Instagram and YouTube. And then you can reach out to me at my website at vitalsourcerealty.com. I'd love to help our community.
I love it. Aisha, I'm going to come to you. If you can give us a brief final thought for the women that are the young women, and I'm going to ask you the same question, Dr. LaNee, for the young women that are considering getting married, what would you say to them? They asked Leslie in the video, like, what would you say to young men and women? And she says, no, don't do it. What would you say to the young women?
For the young women that are listening, marriage is an incredible experience if God calls you to marriage. Not everybody's called to married life. So it is an incredible union if that is what you've been called to do. And when you are called to a marriage life, it doesn't come casually. It comes really with the preparation of your heart, your mind, because your faith, your virtue, courage, loyalty, and fidelity will be tested. But when you come prepared, if that's what God has called you to do, trust me, that is a union that society is built upon. That is all I have to say. And where can you find me? You can find me at the Black Business School, AishaVirzi.com as well. If you need help with your insurance or your retirement planning, reach out to me anytime. I'll be here to help you.
Also, we have a Rise session this week. Aisha is going to teach us all about annuities. So if you are interested, text Queens to 87948 and we will send you a notice when we go live, and give you an option to come on in the room. So Thursday, Rise, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come on in the room and learn about annuities. Also, so Dr. LaNee, I saved you for last, because you have something amazing coming up, and then also I just wanted to ask you the question. So for young, as a woman, because my question for you is, what would you say to young women? But I'll also layer this. What would you say to young men and women who are considering marriage? Because we leave men out of the conversation a lot. And I think that a lot of times Black moms don't prepare their sons for marriage. So we are complaining about the men, we tend to coddle our sons. We tend to prepare them. We tend to not give them, make them good partners, if that makes sense. So what would you say to the men and the women, or young women that want to get married?
I'm a quote Shalaye, do you boo? No. But for real though, like, I would say find somebody that compliments you, right? Not what your family think, not what she got. Like, listen to yourself, listen to your heart, know what you want, right? If you run around here like myself and you got 8 arms and you're doing all the things, no woman wants to do all the 8 things. So you have to find you a relationship, a spouse, a partner who will take your 8 down to 5. And if you got 5, maybe he'll take it down to 3. If you align yourself, if your mate sees you doing 8 things and you align yourself as a helpmate with somebody else, you can't carry your 8 plus somebody else's. That's what 2 people coming together and being one is for. You shouldn't have to be doing 8 when you have a mate, right? Your 8 should at least maybe come down to 5. If you got 5, maybe come down to 3. Everybody's situation is different. So you have to go into your situation communicating, understanding what each other needs, not just as a woman and what he needs, but as a man and what she needs. Can this union work? Can you guys meet each other in the middle? Can you compromise? How do you what does he feel like his role is as a man, and what does he expect from you as a woman? What do you feel your role is as a woman, and what do you expect for your man? People aren't having these conversations going into marriage. They're assuming that this is what this person wants. They're assuming that this is what this person is going to do. And then they get married and figure, oh, when we get married, they'll change. But you haven't talked about it. You haven't communicated. You're expecting something that you haven't even talked about. You just thought because this is what your parents did, that this is what this woman or this man is going to do. And it's not. And that's what I think leads to a lot of these types of conversations. We're not communicating needs and wants. I have a family member who ended up in that situation after 20 years. Well, because they didn't have these conversations when they first got married. And into the marriage, as life started changing around year 10, 15, kids leave, things that the kids left, things of that nature. He thought life was going to look like this. She thought life was going to look like this. And now we have a problem. And we're 20 years in and we didn't have this conversation. So that's what I would tell somebody younger. Communicate, talk, be flexible, be patient, listen, right? Understand. Literally just find somebody that compliments you, yo. Like, I think that's the thing. And if you want some if you can't find a mate to compliment you, find a peer, a colleague at the Black Power conference later this week. Give a nice little segue. Come hang out with us in Miami later this month. Man, we're about to have a good time. I just got the list. You can't make it on the cruise, but I just got the list for the cruise. That's what I was looking at when earlier the cruise list came with all the people and all the seats. We just had 3 more people join us on the cruise this week. But we're about to have a good time in Miami. If you need somebody to meet and agree, touch and agree, you know what I'm saying, and speak into you and nurture you and be in a room with other women who are doing all the things but need to put systems in place so you don't have to be doing all the things. Well, won't miss us, Miami, April 25th through the 26th. If you are down to go, make sure you use, I gotta get the new Fly Nubian Money code, but FNM 150 or FNM 100.
Yes.
I'm Dr. LaNee Javet. You can find me at blackpower.com.
Yes. Ladies, this has been such a good conversation. I knew it would. I thought about you all when I considered who to have this conversation with, and I knew that it was perfect for us. My final thoughts are these. Um, I think that in a world where people are constantly listening to, I think the internet, right, which I don't think is a real place. You're looking around for to get validation for whatever it is that they believe, right? So if you believe in love, you're gonna find things that believe, and if you find you're gonna find a confirmation for whatever it is that you believe. But today I'll just say this. I think that in real life, like a lot of my queens have already said, communication is king. When you get into situations, I just think you have to be open. There's a bit of openness that you have to have, I think, when you're getting into a relationship, period. You can't come with the things that you're hearing online and the things that you can't come with those perspectives. You are going to be in front of a person that, if they are open, you guys get to create the relationship of your dreams. You get to create. And if you keep talking about it, I mean, I've never been married before, but I really want to. But I study a lot of this. Like I study marriage. I watch videos, I read books. I'm into it, right? I don't want to just walk in blindly to a marriage and be like, I've never studied. People go to school and study 4 years to master in something. I think that we should do the same thing for marriage. I think we should do the same thing for relationship. I read at least one communications book every month. At least one. Just to make sure that I'm being a good communicator with not just men but with women, with people, studying interpersonal relationships. So that's how I kind of approach this. I'm a little nerd in that way. Like, I want to learn. If I need a strategy, I'm like, well, what book can I read? So I would just encourage that. There's thousands upon millions of books on YouTube, and there's books that you can listen to or sit and read on the topic. So, I just encourage you to do that. And where you can find me, I'm at Miss Black Hollywood across all platforms. I will be at the Power Her convention, like the Power Her conference, like Dr. LaNee said. So that's just me throwing the extra in. I believe that I believe that one thing that God gave us all is a story, and it is really our responsibility to inspire others and help people see the light through our stories. If you don't tell your story, then you miss a great opportunity to really change other people's lives. So tell your story. But if you don't know how to tell your story, I know somebody that does. Go to MissBlackHollywood.net, MissBlackHollywood.net, if you're interested in working with me. All right, my queens. And listen, everybody in the chat, I saw you today. Anonymous, Double A, Deborah will win, Jasmine, Michelle, Mama Walterine. We appreciate you so much. I didn't get a chance to read some of these comments because the queens was cooking, and then y'all was cooking in the comments. I wish I could go back and just read them, but I read them and I saw it, and I see you, and I thank you for weighing in on this conversation because it was so good to us. We hope it was good to you. Okay, final thoughts. This intro. Oh, and if you want to receive notifications when we go live, go to text Queens to 87948. If you can't watch us, you can take us on the go with you. Go ahead and hit us on Spotify, subscribe, give us a nice rating so other people that come across the show will follow us and love us too. All right. So final thoughts on this thing is marriage is not about love. It's not just about love. It's about money, structure, and long-term decisions. So before we say yes to forever, it's important to understand what we are signing up for. Y'all know what you're signing up for. So that's it. So make sure you like and subscribe and comment. All right, I thought there was more to that, but make sure that you know what you're signing up for is so important. All right, y'all. We will see you tomorrow. We love you, love you, love you. And go ahead and give us that thing that I like, Dr. LaNee. Go do that thing that make me feel good.
Thank you all so much for showing up today. We appreciate you. We love you. God, have a blessed day. Stay black and be one.